So your Garmin top tip to start us off today.
So when you buy a Garmin GPS device from GPS Training and you buy it with an Ordnance Survey map card, the new Topo Pro map cards that have been out for the last 4 or 5 years, there's a function that Garmin have, that Ordnance Survey basically give Garmin, where on the Ordnance Survey map card, the Topo Pro ones, they've got paths in the national parks, so in any of the Great Britain national parks, where you can get the device to snap onto paths for walking and hiking. So not for trail riding or mountain biking, it's walking paths for hiking, walking in the national parks. So you can get the device to, I suppose, work like a car sat nav, where a car sat nav, you say, take me from Rothbury in Northumberland down to the South Downs where John's going this weekend, and your car sat nav will snap you onto roads and you get the turn left and turn right. So we can do the same thing in a national park. But sometimes there's a little bit confusion on how we use this profile. So basically GPS Training, if you've got a unit from us recently, when you go into your main menu and profile change and you get the options like tour, cycle, hike, etc., you should see one we'll have set up called Hike National Park. Basically for the Hike National Park setting, we change the routing so it's not direct routing and it's activity hiking. So it only works in the national parks. This is where the confusion comes, and that's why I thought it was nice to give you this tip on how you use it. A lot of customers download routes from the internet, from websites, and if the routes are tracks, it doesn't really matter what profile you use. It's just overlaid on the map. You're not going to get turn left, turn right. But if it's a route, so someone sat on a map and created it and you download it and realise it's in your routes menu, even if it's in a national park, you'll find I'm 99.9%. I've never found any where they've been designed for the Garmin for the turn by turn. So even though they're in a national park, you don't change it to the Hike MP profile, because what can potentially happen is, because the person who's created that route hasn't necessarily created on exactly the same map you've got in the Garmin, it'll try and change the shape and the direction of the route. And a lot of time these routes will have too many points in them because you're limited to the number of points. So if you do download a route from the internet, and it's in a national park, just leave your unit on the Hike profile. Don't change it to the Hike MP. And now you might be thinking, well, what's the point of this Hike MP? I'm just going to give you one feature that we use. There's other ways you can do it using Basecamp software, but I'm keeping this tip as a real simple tip in what I do with it. I could be in the hills, in a national park, and I've got no route on my unit. That's my first example. So what I do is I go onto my profile change from the main menu and I say profile change, Hike MP. And what that allows me to do is move the cursor on my push button unit, or if you're on a touchscreen unit, tap on the screen so you get a drawn pin, and then move that drawn pin further ahead on a path. So on the push button unit, you're just moving the cursor, and then you tap on the touchscreen unit. If you've got the drawn pin, you tap on the box that appears at the top of your map, and it gives you a name of the point that you've marked the drawn pin. Tap on that, and then when you say go on the push button unit, when you've moved the cursor to a point on a footpath, and you press enter, and then again you just select any of the names that come up. Even if there's multiple names, they're all just taken off the map. You press the enter on the go, and it basically, rather than it drawing a straight line, which is what it would do if you were on the Hike profile set as direct routing, it'll actually snap onto the paths for you. And then as you walk to that point, you'll get turn left, turn right arrows appear. Now, sometimes if you find it's not snapping on paths you thought it should be going on, it may be because Ordnance Survey unfortunately haven't mapped every single little trail. Then you might just stop the navigation by touching your magnifying glass on the touchscreen, or find stop navigation, and revert back to the Hike profile and direct routing and just draw straight lines. But it's just a really nice way of getting it to snap onto paths when you haven't got a route. The second option I'm going to give you, the second tip, is using the same profile. You could have followed a route. You might be at the top of a hill, and then you just want to get down a different way. You might want to get down to a town or a village. You can, on your GPS unit, search for cities using the Finder magnifying glass. It will then show all the towns and villages, not just cities. It's just the terminology Garmin uses, even little hamlets. Lists just the ones closest to you, but you find one a little bit further down the mountain that you want to get to. You tap on it, and then again you get the word go, and when you tap go, it'll snap to the paths to take you back down to that town or village because you're in the national park. That's how I tend to use that Hike National Park profile. But the main point of this tip was, when you've downloaded GPX files from the internet and they're in a national park, a lot of customers thought they had to change their unit to Hike MP. It's only for scenarios where you will have created the route and base camp software, which we show on our training videos, using that profile, or you're using it in the way I've just described in the second option. So I'd always keep on just the hike profile when you've downloaded a route from the internet for a national park.
That's brilliant. Really good top tip about understanding more about the Hike NMP profile on a Garmin GPS unit.